Hello and welcome, Pokemon fans. There are those who call me Bard Breaker, and today it's time for another solo Pokemon challenge run. Last week we tormented ourselves with a solo run through Platinum with just a Drifloon, so let's go back and get us some Comfort Kanto with a Fire Red run. Today we're going to ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon Fire Red using a team of only a single Jigglypuff? Jigglypuff is a weak little normal type puffball with a stat total that's pretty weak, clocking in at a total of only 270. We have excellent HP at 115, but pretty much trash everything else. Our attack and special attack are pretty weak, and defense and special defense are virtually non-existent, as is my speed. This will most likely be a problem, as while we do have a lot of HP, we don't have a lot of defensive stats that'll mitigate the damage, and we're also going to be outsped by a lot of stuff in this game, meaning we're not going to have a lot of chances to get one-shots off before being attacked ourselves. Still, I think we can do this, but let's take a look at the moveset and you'll see one of our biggest hurdles right out of the gate. Jigglypuff starts with Sing and Defense Curl. And that's it. Neither of those are damage-dealing moves, so we don't have a way to knock out any opposing Pokemon. This means we'll have to resort to struggle right out of the gate in order to attack anything to gain experience and level up. This is annoying for several reasons, so take your pick here on which you prefer. Some may think the fact that we have 40 defense curls on top of 15 sings that we have to burn through before we can use struggle, that might be the biggest hurdle. Others may say it's our recoil damage. However, on that one we're kind of in luck, if you can call it that, because in Gen 2 and 3, struggle is probably at its most useful. In Gen 1, it dealt back half the damage you inflicted as recoil. In Gens 2 and 3, it deals back 1/4 of the damage you've inflicted, while Gen 4 onwards, it deals 1/4 of your total health back as damage, meaning at most you can only use it a max of 4 times before being knocked out, so only 3 in solo Pokemon run. Add that to every time we have to heal at the Pokemon Center, it replenishes our power points, so we have to burn through extra moves again. This will present us with a fairly tedious grind session right out of the gate until we level up 4 times to level 9 so that we can learn Pound. After that, our moves open up a bit. Rollout will probably be a staple, as will Body Slam. Hyper Voice is even stronger than Body Slam, but Body Slam has the paralysis chance, so I'll have to debate on the trade-off there when the time comes. TM-wise though, this is where Jigglypuff actually shines. We have a load of TMs to choose from, and a lot of useful ones at that. We'll get Water Pulse for defeating Misty, and I'm sure that'll be put to immediate use. Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Psychic, Dig. There's a lot of awesome options here. At this point, I like to remind you all that I write the script as we go, so at this point I actually haven't played the game yet. Make your guesses down below to please the almighty algorist, god of the YouTube algorithm, and to let me know if you think I can beat this or not. I definitely think it's possible, but with our low base stats, we're probably going to have to power level over a lot of stuff. Even super effective moves aren't going to do as much as you might think if we just don't have the stats to back it up. Lastly, as always, our rules. Number 1, we'll only be using Jigglypuff in combat. We'll need other Pokemon for HMs and such outside of combat, but they'll be left fainted whenever possible to avoid tainting the run. Secondly, I won't be using any items in battle. Held items will be allowed, and items outside of combat as well. Finally, I won't be using any cheats, glitches, or exploits aside from replacing our starter with Jigglypuff. Let's begin. So as always, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer and replace Charmander with Jigglypuff. This way our rival will take Squirtle, giving him the best option for the endgame. We're normal type, so the only weakness we have is fighting, meaning that all 3 of the starter's final forms will have neutral type effectiveness on us across the board. Additionally, I plan to have an endgame moveset that will ultimately result in us having a super effective move to use regardless of the rival's final form. However, giving him a Blastoise for the endgame gives him the tankiest option, given that it has the highest defense and special defense of the 3. I nickname our Jigglypuff Wanda, after Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch. I kind of went this route because Wanda is unsure of her full potential when she was first introduced, but gradually grew into one of the strongest characters with her powers. In fact, she actually has yet to tap her full potential in the MCU, so this may be an ongoing growth. We have a gentle nature, which means less defense and more special defense. Considering defense was already our lowest stat, this isn't that great, and since our special defense was just about as weak, I don't see this making an inordinate amount of difference, but I guess we'll see what happens. Our ability though is Cute Charm, which means that any Pokemon which makes contact will have a 30% chance to become infatuated with us if it's the opposite gender. So much for Pokemon being progressive. I guess they don't want kids to catch the gay. Infatuation could be a run saver though, because it means that 50% of the time while infatuated, the opponent won't be able to attack. That's almost as good as Confusion, but they just don't move instead of hitting themselves. We actually lose our first battle against Tim because we can't attack. Though in hindsight, I suppose I could have technically been possible to win this between Infatuation luck, putting Squirtle to sleep with Sing, and burning down all of our PP in the process. It probably could have been done, but I'm not going to keep resetting at the start just for the off chance that we'd get it to. After completing the obligatory package delivery simulator stuff, we start off on our adventure. We stop only once, for a moment or two, and we catch a Pidgey to use for Fly later, nicknaming it Flapsity the Ninth. long may he fly, and proceed directly into Viridian Forest. So in order to level up, we need to use Struggle. In order to use Struggle, we need to burn all of our other PP moves. In order to do that safely, I need Metapod and Kakuna. Unfortunately, they only spawn at 5 and 10% respectively though, so it takes a while to find them. Adding to our problem is that they also have power points in this generation, so I can't just burn moves forever, we have to actually pay attention, and once they start struggling against us, it's time to move on. But after a bunch of grinding on Kakuna to burn down our power points and then struggling on whatever comes up, we finish the grind to level up to 9 and learn Pound. We grind some more before challenging our optional rival west of Viridian City at level 14. And yeah, maybe we were a bit over-leveled here. We two-shot both his Pidgey and Squirtle with Pound. After that, we grind up a bit more because I really don't think we're beating Brock yet. At level 19, we learn Rollout and it's time to give Brock a try. We put the Geodude to sleep and start our rollouts. He wakes up along the way, but by the 5th hit of Rollout, we knock it out. Onix is next and we do the same. We put the Rock Snake to sleep and start Rollout. On the way, he wakes up and hits for Tackle, infatuating him, but we hit another Rollout for big damage and end it. We get to Cerulean City after going through Mount Moon, where we caught a Paris for Flash later. We nicknamed it Flashelius the Ninth, long may he shine, and take on rival number 2 at the Nugget Bridge. And it's super easy because once again, we're still a bit over-leveled. I miss Sing on Pidgeotto as it lands Sand Attack, though we get the next one and start a rollout. It takes 2 rollouts to bring Pidgeotto down, but everything else he has goes down to 1. We make it through Nugget Bridge and all the trainers, and we walk in on Bill getting ready for his Mascot Lovers Anonymous meeting, and he gives us the SS ticket to keep quiet. Misty's gym isn't anything special. Staryu uses Harden, but goes down to a Mega Punch. Starmie gets off a Water Pulse twice, but goes down in 2 Mega Punches. Along the way south of Cerulean, though, I stop and I catch 5 Meowth. I nickname the first Snipticus the Ninth, long may he cut, and catch 4 more regular commoners. I can't use them in combat, but if you've seen my other Gen 3 runs, you know what these are for. Just like the Zigzagoons in Sapphire and Emerald, I'm using Meowths for their pickup ability. After every winning battle, either trainer or wild encounter, there's a 10% chance they'll have a held item that they've picked up. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, the loot table looks more like a vegan's wet dream than a loot table, as they've loaded it with mostly berries that they've otherwise largely kept out of the game. However, there is a 5% chance to pick up a nugget or rare candy, both of which will help me out greatly if we can get some. There's also a 5% chance they'll spawn holding a nugget, but unfortunately my 5 didn't. So future me note here, my second pickup item that I got was a nugget just outside the underground path. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come. We get to the SSN and we clean out everything and everyone of value. Time for rival number 3 and it's pretty easy. We get a rollout set up on Pidgeotto and it lands Gust and Quick Attack. Eradicate's down to 1 rollout. Kadabra's faster though and outspeeds to land Disable. His Disable lands on rollout and we have to switch to Body Slam to finish the fight. Wartortle is last and 1 Body Slam takes it out. We get the HM for cut from the delicious seasick old man and it's time for Surge. Lieutenant Surge proves super easy as we just set up a rollout on Voltorb and roll our way through the rest of his team. Really not much to report here, that was super easy. We make it to Celadon and go straight for the department store. I was initially debating buying Carbos to boost my speed, but when I checked my stats, my speed is actually my highest. I must have really fought a lot of speed EV Pokemon. I decide instead to go for Erika and the Grass Gym next. And we actually lose our first attempt. I tried setting up rollout, but my favorite Pokemon Victory Bell paralyzed me with Stun Spore and disrupted it, and it's just downhill from there. We got some awful paralysis luck and we just can't recover. On our next attempt, we go right for Body Slam from the start. We don't one-shot the Victory Bell and it hits us for Stun Spore again. Erika heals, but we get off another Body Slam and a Water Pulse and finish it. Next out is her Tangela, which goes for Ingrain, but we finish it with Body Slam. Last out is her Vileplume, and it goes to Red Health off a Body Slam as we get the paralysis. Erika uses a full heal though, but we get off another Body Slam to finish it. After finishing up Erika in the Grass Gym, it's time to go to Lavender Town for Tower Tim. And it's an easy rollout sweep. Takes 2 for Pidgeotto again, but after that, everything's a one-shot right up to the Wartortle. We're out of our rollout, so instead of setting up another, we hit a Body Slam for paralysis and he lands Water Gun. But another Body Slam takes him out. After that, we start working up the tower and... oh, right. I forgot to clear out the game corner and get the Silph Scope. Whoopsie. So we clear out the game corner and Giovanni is easy. Onix and Rhyhorn are both one-shots with Water Pulse. Kangaskhan survives a Body Slam though to land Mega Punch before going down to another Body Slam. Now that we've beaten Giovanni, we can pick up the Silph Scope and go rescue Mr. Fuji. After rescuing him from the tower, we had some great luck with our pickup ability. 4 of our 5 Meowths had items and all 4 were from the 5% pickup field. A Nugget, 2 rare candies, and another TM for hidden power. We've got quite a collection going, and I'm sure they'll come in handy later. Afterwards, it's time to clear out the Silphco building in our first attempt at the Rival. Or as you may know him, Rival Fivel. Pidgeotta's first and takes weak damage from a rollout as it lands Feather Dance, which drops our attack 2 stages. Gets in another wing attack, but 2 more rollouts finally finish it. Growlithe is next, and his Intimidate brings our attack down a 3rd stage, but he still goes down to another rollout. Execute is after him, and he goes down to our last rollout. Alakazam is next and sets up Future Sight as we land Body Slam. We probably would have one-shot it without the attack drops. Last out is Blastoise, and we put it to sleep and hit a weak body slam. I want to see how much rollout will do, but Blastoise keeps waking up and we have to keep putting him back to sleep. Eventually we get him to sleep long enough for rollout to charge high enough and we can take him out. Now it's on to Giovanni. Even though we just beat him a few minutes ago, it's time for another Giovanni fight. His Nidorino is out first and goes down to Body Slam. Nidoqueen is next, and it tanks a Water Pulse and a Body Slam to a Sliver as we go for rollout and finish it off. Kangaskhan is next, and it goes down to 2 rollouts thanks to a crit. Last out is Rhyhorn, which goes down in 2 rollouts and finishes the fight before we faint to Poison from Nidoqueen's Poison Point. Speaking of Poison, Koga is up next, and this takes a couple of tries thanks to some bad accuracy luck. On our winning run, we start by bringing the Coffin to a Sliver as it lands Sludge. We don't get a Poison though, and we bring it down with 2 more Water Pulses. Next out is Muck, and we put it to sleep immediately with Sing, and then take it out with a Body Slam and Water Pulse. Next out is another Coughing, and we do one-shot this one though. Last out is Wheezing, and we put it to sleep early and take it down in 2 Body Slams. With Koga out of the way, we can use Surf outside of battle, which we picked up earlier in the Safari Zone, and we go to Cinnabar Island. Blaine's next, and as you probably expect, it's an easy sweep with Water Pulse. We did nearly faint due to a crit Fire Blast from his Arcanine, but we held on with 1 HP to land another Water Pulse and end it. Upon returning to Viridian City and realizing the gym is still locked, I discover I never did Sabrina's gym. But we just had a couple of mental gaps this run. Back to Saffron City we go. And it's a one-shot sweep with Body Slam. Now we go back to Viridian. It's time for the final gym fight with Giovanni. His Rhyhorn is first and goes down to a Water Pulse. Nidoqueen is next and survives Water Pulse to land a crit Earthquake as we take it down. I used Body Slam though, so we get poisoned off her Poison Point ability. Nidoking is next and we bring it low with a Water Pulse and it lands Earthquake. Giovanni uses Hyper Potion as we land a Body Slam to bring it back low and he heals it again. We're taking damage pretty heavily from the Poison Point though. Leftovers is helping us stay in the fight, but it's not healing enough. We finally take out the Nidoking, but this is looking bad. Dugtrio's next, and he goes down to 1 Water Pulse, but we're down to 9 HP by the time the Rhyhorn comes out. We fortunately outspeed it though to land Water Pulse and end the fight. That was close. If we didn't one-shot the Rhyhorn, we would have lost to the Poison. I didn't mean to make it that close by using Body Slam, but there we go. All 8 badges in hand, it's time for our final fight before Victory Road in the Elite Four. So I decided to take care of some housekeeping before fighting our final rival battle west of Viridian, and instead go to Celadon City to buy the TMs I need from the game store. They're of course the most expensive ones, but we've surprisingly got the money without having to sell anything. We buy 8,000 Chuck E. Cheese tokens so that we can get Ice Beam and Thunderbolt from the game corner. After those, we head back to Viridian and it's time for Tim. Pidgeot's first and goes down to a Thunderbolt. Rhyhorn's next and goes down to a Water Pulse. Growlithe is next and goes down to Water Pulse as well. Execute is next, and a Body Slam does paralyze it as it brings us to half, but hits us with a Stun Spore. We're paralyzed as it charges Solar Beam. Next turn, it gets off a surprisingly weak Solar Beam, and we finish it off. Next up is his Alakazam, and it misses a Disable as our Body Slam brings it to red. Our attack stat is really holding us back here because we're 30 levels above it, have a stab bonus on Body Slam, and Alakazam is super weak physically, but we still don't finish it. I know Growlithe intimidated us down a stage, but still, that's pretty rough. We finally take it out after Disable misses again, and we get to Blastoise. We get hit with a Water Gun, but ultimately take it out after a couple Thunderbolts. This was actually my 6th or so attempt. We always got paralyzed before the Blastoise and always had too many turns of paralysis. Finally though, we can move on to the Elite Four. It's our first attempt at Lorelei as Dugong sets up Hail but goes down in 2 Thunderbolts. Her Cloyster is next and goes down to a Thunderbolt. Slowbro tanks a Thunderbolt to land a Surf. Lorelei uses a full restore, allowing us 2 more Thunderbolts to end it. Her Lapras is next, and a Thunderbolt brings it to about half as it hits Confuse Ray. Unfortunately for us, we hit ourselves 3 goddamn times in a row, while Lapras hits us with a Surf and 2 Ice Beams to finish us. We've got enough rare candy to level all the way to 100 thanks to our pickup, but I'd like to try and do this without getting that high if I can help it. Let's try again. With better confusion luck, I'm sure we got this. And yeah, it's much better on our next attempt. Dugong goes down in 2 Thunderbolts again, but this time just sets up Safeguard. Cloyster is another one-shot. Slowbro takes 2 and gets off a Surf though. Lapras is next, and instead of Confuse Ray, opens up with Ice Beam as 2 Thunderbolts take her down. Last out is her Jinx, and we take it out with a crit Body Slam. I don't think the crit was needed, but hey, I'll take it. Let's move on to Bruno. And so in a sentence seldom heard in Pokemon playthroughs, I lose to Bruno again and again and again. Normally Bruno's the easy one. This is ridiculous. Again, I have the rare candy to level up to 100, but I'd rather go lower if I can, if for no other reason than personal pride. The problem is his Hitmonchan. We can't seem to one-shot it, and it fucks up our speed, and we get hit hard by Hitmonlee. Finally though, we get this run. Onix is first again and goes down to Water Pulse. Hitmonchan is out, and for the first time in all of my attempts, he goes for Sky Uppercut first. It lands and hits hard, but it doesn't mess with our speed. We bring it to a sliver with Psychic, as Bruno uses a full restore, which allows us 2 more attacks to take it out. Hitmonlee is next, and it hangs on with a sliver as it lands Brick Break. We get it with another Psychic. His Machamp is next, and it goes low with a Psychic, but this time finally didn't attack, and instead used Scary Face, which chunks our speed as we take it out with another Psychic. His Onix is out last, and it goes for Earthquake, but it does hit surprisingly weak, even though we are low health, and so with barely enough health left, we one-shot it with Water Pulse. Next up is Agatha. I ether up Psychic because I apparently didn't pick up a single elixir this run, and move on. In stark contrast to Bruno, Agatha is a first attempt victory. We surprisingly outspeed the Gengar and one-shot it with Psychic. Golbat's next and goes down to Psychic as well. Arbok survives Psychic on a sliver and poisons us with Sludge Bomb. Agatha full restores those, we take it out in our next Psychic. Of course we don't one-shot the first time, that would be too easy. Gengar is out last, and this one's faster than us, and it lands a Sludge Bomb but goes down with Psychic. Haunter's out last, but one more Psychic and it's over. Now it's on to Lance. Lance, as you might expect, is almost a one-shot sweep. Gyarados goes down to Thunderbolt, Aerodactyl is next and hits Wing Attack as we respond with Thunderbolt. He survives though and full restores. We get off another Thunderbolt and paralyze it to 1 HP and finish it with Psychic. Dragonite is next and goes down to 1 Ice Beam. Its 2 Dragonairs are left, but they also go down to 1 Ice Beam apiece. We ether everything up and it's time for the champion. And okay guys, this is where the run gets derailed, and I'm actually beyond pissed about this. It takes attempt after attempt after attempt. I leveled up to 100 and we're still not consistently able to one-shot the Pidgeot with Thunderbolt. It's ridiculous. Now what makes me even more angry guys is I can't actually show you what happened here. For some reason during one of my resets, all of my sprites disappeared, including the in-battle ones. The overworld sprites are gone, the in-battle sprites are gone, and I don't know why. This actually happened with my Larvitar run through Gold at the very end too when I was facing Red. Fortunately in that one, the sprites in battles stayed around at least, but this time all the sprites in the game period are gone. So this is what we're left with, a blank battle screen. Now a coworker of mine who's really good at, let's say, intentionally bad art, drew up some replacement sprites though, so at least you have something to look at on screen. And at least the text is there too, so we can see what's happening text-wise at least. So let's go ahead and recount the battle. His Pidgeot is first as we take it out with a Thunderbolt, one of the few times we were actually able to one-shot it. Alakazam is next, and it sets up a barrier as we go for Body Slam. Another Body Slam takes it out. Next up is his Executor, and 1 Fire Blast finishes it off. Rhydon is out next, and a single Ice Beam takes it out. Next up is his Arcanine, and this is where we get stuck every time. We just can't do enough damage and get past the full restores. We finally came up with a workaround though, as we go for Ice Beam first to chunk its health a bit, then we can use 2 Thunderbolts to bring it down and it won't ever use a full restore. This actually worked, I just wish I could have shown it on screen. Blastoise is last and we get a Thunderbolt for what I'm assuming is major damage, but I can't tell, as it sets up Rain Dance. Another Thunderbolt ends it. And that's it, we've beaten Fire Red with a Jigglypuff, and we didn't have to use Double Team Cheese. I'm just beyond pissed that the sprites disappeared. And this has to be a problem with the program I'm running the game on, because it happened with my Larvitar run too, just not in the actual battle. So I don't know guys, I'm sure I'll probably get dislikes for this happening, but there's really nothing I could do to fix the sprites. Resetting the game didn't work, reopening the emulator didn't work, and I'm not going to redo the entire playthrough for the final battle. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. I don't know what the next challenge is going to be just yet, although I think you guys are going to like it. It will be another Gen 1 run, but it's not going to be a single Pokemon run this time. I think you guys are going to like it. Until next video guys, thanks for watching. Good luck, and catch 'em all.